Arohi Kapoor lived in a world of luxury. Her life was a tapestry woven with threads of gold, a constant whirlwind of extravagant parties and designer labels. She had never known a day of want, her every whim catered to. Yet beneath the surface of opulence, Arohi yearned for something more, a love that transcended the superficiality of her world.
Rohan was different. He was a breath of fresh air in my suffocating world of privilege. As our family's chauffeur, he occupied a space far below my social standing. He was handsome, with eyes that held a depth I hadn't encountered in the polished smiles of the men from my world. He was kind, his words imbued with a sincerity that was foreign to me.
Arohi found herself drawn to Rohan, her heart thrumming a little faster whenever their eyes met. She was captivated by his quiet strength, his unwavering work ethic, and his genuine humility. He was a stark contrast to the entitled men she usually encountered, and she found his grounded nature irresistible. What began as stolen glances quickly blossomed into a forbidden romance. Arohi, used to getting everything she desired, was willing to risk everything for Rohan, believing she had found a love worth defying societal norms for. Their encounters were stolen moments of bliss, secret rendezvous in secluded corners of the sprawling Kapoor mansion, whispered conversations under the cloak of night, and hidden touches that sent shivers down Arohi's spine. Rohan became her confidant, the one person she could truly be herself with.
My family, blinded by their wealth and societal standing, remained oblivious to our clandestine affair. They saw Rohan as nothing more than hired help, a cog in the well-oiled machine that was our lavish lifestyle. Little did they know, I was falling deeper and deeper into a love that would shatter the carefully constructed walls of our world. Blinded by love, I dismissed the whispers and concerned glances from those who questioned my choice.
Arohi, you are my everything. Our love will conquer all, I promise you. Their romance was a whirlwind, a secret world hidden from prying eyes. Arohi, intoxicated by the intensity of her emotions, believed this was true love, a love worth sacrificing everything for. She was ready to give up her family, her wealth, her entire world for Rohan, convinced that their love was worth the price. As months passed, a seed of doubt began to sprout in Arohi's heart. Rohan, once attentive and loving, seemed distant, his eyes often clouded with a look she couldn't decipher. His phone would buzz at odd hours, and he would leave the room to answer it, his voice hushed, his demeanor guarded.
I initially dismissed these red flags. I reasoned that he was just stressed, bogged down by the weight of our secret. But deep down, a gnawing fear began to consume me. Was Rohan truly who he portrayed himself to be?
One evening, Arohi stumbled upon a message on Rohan's phone that shattered her world. It was from a woman named Meera, and the words were filled with an intimacy that sent a chill down Arohi's spine. The carefully constructed facade of their love crumbled before her eyes, revealing the ugly truth she had been so desperately trying to ignore.
Rohan, my Rohan, the man I had staked everything on, the man for whom I was willing to give up my entire life, was in love with another woman.
The realization hit her like a physical blow, leaving her gasping for air in a world that suddenly seemed devoid of color. The man she loved had been playing a cruel game all along, and she had been a pawn in his twisted scheme. Meera. The name echoed in Arohi's mind, a constant reminder of Rohan's betrayal. Consumed by a potent cocktail of heartbreak and anger, Arohi decided to uncover the truth about the woman who had stolen Rohan's heart.
Meera, who are you and why did you take him from me?
Arohi, her face pale and streaked with tears, stared at a message on a phone, the name Meera flashing on the screen. Arohi discovered that Meera was everything she was not.
Bold, cunning, and ambitious, Meera was a force to be reckoned with.
She had Rohan wrapped around her little finger, using her charm and wit to manipulate him into showering her with lavish gifts and empty promises.
Oh, Rohan, you're just too generous. I can't possibly accept all of this.
Mira, much like Rohan, was driven by greed.
She saw Rohan as a stepping stone, a means to an end.
His connection to the affluent Kapoor family was her golden ticket, and she would use him to climb the social ladder, discarding him once he had served his purpose.
The irony was not lost on me. Rohan, who had used me for my wealth and status, was now being used by another.
The realization was a bitter pill to swallow, a painful reminder of her own naivete.
Unbeknownst to Rohan, my heart belongs to another.
She was using him, just as he had used Arohi, playing a dangerous game of deception that would leave both of them emotionally bankrupt. The inevitable happened. Mira, having squeezed Rohan dry, moved on to her next conquest, leaving him a shell of the man he once was. His world, built on a foundation of lies and deceit, crumbled around him. The wealth he craved, the social status he so desperately desired, slipped through his fingers like grains of sand. Rohan was left with nothing but regret. The realization of his actions, the pain he had inflicted upon Arohi, the depth of his own betrayal, hit him with the force of a hurricane. He had traded genuine love and affection for fleeting moments of superficial pleasure, and in the process, he had destroyed everything. Desperate and filled with remorse, Rohan sought out Arohi. He returned to the Kapoor mansion, a place that had once welcomed him with open arms, only to be met with the cold indifference of the staff, who now saw him for what he truly was: a fraud. Arohi, alerted to Rohan's presence, agreed to see him. He stood before her, a shadow of his former self, his eyes filled with regret and a flicker of hope that she might find it in her heart to forgive him. Arohi listened as Rohan poured out his heart, his words laced with remorse and pleas for forgiveness. But something within her had changed. The naive, love-struck girl who had once worshipped the ground he walked on was gone, replaced by a strong, independent woman who refused to be anyone's fool. Arohi looked at Rohan, her eyes devoid of the love and adoration they once held. She saw him for what he truly was, a selfish, opportunistic man who had used her and broken her heart. And in that moment, she realized that forgiveness, while noble, wasn't what she needed. She needed closure.
I was foolish. I let myself believe in a love that was never real. But I'm not that girl anymore, Rohan. I've learned from my mistakes.
With a sad smile and a heart heavy with unshed tears, Arohi turned her back on Rohan and walked away. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Her life was no longer intertwined with his. Arohi was free. Free from the shackles of her past. Free from the pain he had inflicted. Free to write her own story. A story where love wouldn't be a tool for manipulation, but a force for good. As she stepped out of the shadows of deceit and heartbreak, Arohi Kapoor embraced her future, a future filled with endless possibilities.